can I just say that there's first blood to Cavan up there, because they have won the minor match, beating Monaghan by 2-17 to 1-8, double scores in that game. Look, we were in Ballybuffet last Sunday. Everybody going into the game had gloomy predictions that it would be terrible football and other ways. No, it wasn't exactly free-flowing, but it was a hugely competitive match, and surely we want that as well. Will we get that today?
It was very absorbent, but what's happening is we're becoming inured to the new game. We're starting to get used to it now, and I suppose in a way we're just having to live with it. I think that today, I mean, I have called Cavan over the last few years the Black Death, because their football has been, I mean, as somebody said, it's as ugly as Marty Morrissey, their football.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe that's putting it. I should apologise to the people at Cavan
for that. Please apologise to Marty Morrissey for a start, all right?
But I think that, you know, we are, I suppose, starting to get into a situation where we're having to live with it, and we're now using words like it's fascinating and intriguing. Cavan will play a 1-13-1 formation today, so the normal setup that you have on the page here of defenders and forwards is irrelevant. I think Monaghan will probably play 1-12-2, and this is the sort of vocabulary that we have to use nowadays. I expect it to be a really grim battle today, you know, with perhaps
that's what I'm saying,
Monaghan with a wee bit more firepower.
It'll be a close, tough battle, and the view is Monaghan are favourites, but the view is that this is as good a chance as Cavan have of catching them today.
Yeah, Michael, it's a local derby, and inside in Breffni, it's going to be a tough physical match. Cavan, we know how they're going to set up. They have won 4 under 21 titles, Ulster titles, playing this defensive football. So they're going to set up defensively. It's worked for them in Ulster, and they're going to try to push on. Monaghan are one of the most physical teams I've ever played against. That's this particular group of players.
Yes.
They're really physical. It'll be a tough match. It will be defensive. There's no point in us complaining about the way it's being played or anything. It's going to be defensive anyway, you know. But I think Cavan will push them. I think if Cavan are thereabouts with maybe 10 minutes to go, that they could create. I think one area where Cavan will fall down, and ironically I think he'll catch Monaghan down the road, is firepower. I question, will they have enough firepower to break down Monaghan, whereas, you know, Monaghan have the likes of Conor McManus, who's an excellent footballer.
Monaghan are in a stronger position. I mean, I think that they had a huge psychological wobble when they met the Dubs last year, and they just, you know, the arse fell out of it for them. You would have thought they had seen a ghost, and they didn't do themselves justice that day at all.
James McEnroe behind him. O'Connell looking for the first point of this Ulster quarter-final. He's got the first.
The guy who was supposed to be tracking him, Cian Mackey, didn't bother about him, so the free run forward resulted in the place kick opportunity now, which Monaghan should convert.
And it's Conor McManus with the first scoring opportunity and the first point of this Ulster quarter-final for Cavan. Goals have been their problem. Just 1 goal scored in the 2015 National League. Niall Murray getting his first touch now. It's James McEnroe. McEnroe running into trouble, into difficulty, and Monaghan with Darren Hughes swarming around. He was a major fitness tout. Here's Shane Carey, it's his championship debut. Here's Darren Hughes. Hughes sending it out now to Ryan McInespy, the 19-year-old. It's good work from Monaghan. Was there a foul in there, and the referee has given a free out against the Monaghan man, and Cavan coming forward with Cian Mackey. Mackey, so important to Cavan's chances today, collided with Paul Finlay, and Mackey launching it in towards Michael Argue, has gone in at full force. There's no Martin Dunn in the Cavan starting 15. And that was as Martin Riley's free. It's a nice strike, but it's off. Angling that across towards Michael Argue, and he's got it as well, beating Drew Wiley, and Michael Argue fists the ball over the bar. He scored a couple of fisted goals in a challenge game against Meath not so long ago. Didn't play an awful lot of league football.
Around that time.
Carl O'Connell taking it away from Cian Mackey, and it opens up for Kieran Hughes. Then the door slams in his face. Dara McVitie, number 10 on his back, winning possession for Cavan. Cian Mackey. Niall McDermott was pushed over. Free in Cavan.
Yeah, soft enough free that time, Dara. McDermott got out to the ball first but mishandled it, but a little bit of over anxiety in the part of the Monaghan defender gave away the free. Definite push. Buddy Hughes got that one right.
Niall McDermott was Cavan's top scorer in Division 2 of the National Football League, and that one has gone over. Shane Carey, part of the DCU team from this year's Sigerson. Neil McAdam. Vinnie Corey. For Conor McManus, so hard for him to get space. Fergal Flanagan is with him. McManus got away from him beautifully, and that is what makes him one of the best there is. Flanagan seemed to have a vice-like grip on Conor McManus, but Cavan had that spurt of 4 points without reply. That's for 3 in a row for Monaghan. Conor McManus again. 3 out of 4 he's contributed. Had another one on. Leading for the first time since the first minute.
Yeah, just a beautiful style. Just about slipped in that time, but in fairness to the umpire, he was in a good position to actually adjudicate on that.
55 metres at least. Tricky wind right in the centre. He's looking anxiously after it, but no need because it's sailed straight over. 5 apiece.
Around it, they had numbers there, and it's just unnecessary to be conceding frees of that nature when you have numbers in position to actually counteract the attack.
And while you were watching that, the ball has actually been moved forward to the 20-metre line, so it's even closer in. Something was said to referee Paddy Hughes.
Yeah, I think the one he's pointing at is Martin Riley. Martin might have got a wee bit lippy.
Paul Finlay. And now there's a little gap ahead of him. Look at Conor McManus drifting back to try and get a tackle in. Keane Mackey. And Mackey takes on the effort, and Rory Beggan can't hold on to it. And that's more like it from Cavan. Good patient build-up, and then some direct running, very direct running from Keane Mackey. 7-6, Cavan in front.
Yeah, and it's significant that there are 2 talismen that time. Keane Mackey and Garage McKiernan were involved in it, and for Cavan to win this game, those 2 guys have to exert a much, much bigger influence.
Damien O'Reilly, Niall McDermott and James McEnroe.
Oh yeah, that's a clear bookable offence. But how many times?
Just outside the arc with just over 5 minutes to half-time. Paul Finlay. Shane Carey over-carried the ball. And Cavan get on with it quickly. Rory Dunn going forward. The Cavan fullback. There was a momentary opening, but that was closed. But here they come again. Ronan Flanagan waiting for options, and Flanagan taking it on himself. Ronan Flanagan for Cavan, and that has gone over the bar. 8-7. More direct and very effective. His brother Drew. Oh, that's given away. Garrod McKiernan for Cavan. What can they come up with here? Garrod McKiernan still going. He'll take his point, McKiernan. But that was an elementary error from the Monaghan defence. And the lead is now 2, heading into added time. 9-7 Cavan.
Yeah, McKiernan is one guy you don't give an opportunity to like that to. He just goes direct for goals onto his right foot this time, makes the angle for himself and just delightfully taps it over. But as I said earlier, for Cavan to win, he has to be in the game from beginning to end. He's so important to them.
Cavan have won just 1 of their last 5 Ulster Championship matches. Monaghan have a much superior record, losing 1 out of their last 7. Kieran Hughes. Fintan Kelly. Vinnie Corey. Carl O'Connell. Darragh McVitie taking it off him, and O'Connell is out of position. There is the whistle for the end of the
points to 7. Joe Brolly and Tomás O'Shea with us here in studio. Joe, not too many points from play, most of those scores coming from frees, and I suppose that's just about what we expected.
Well, Cavan are in a very strong position. Their defence is notoriously difficult to penetrate. And we've seen that with their 4 Ulster under-21 triumphs. I mean, I spoke to Fergal Logan a few years ago when he was managing Tyrone under-21s, and he was actually depressed after they'd played Cavan. And you could see that with Monaghan. I mean, they've scored 1 point from play. They haven't looked like scoring. Cavan's defensive setup was very entrenched and very practiced. Peter Donnelly from Tyrone was there with their development squads for years. He's moved on to Tyrone this year. And, you know, you can see that. You can see the change in Tyrone's play, even towards a more defensive type of game. So it's very, very difficult to break down. And each success that Cavan have had, they've scored 4 points from play. You know, Monaghan are conceding short kickouts to Cavan, so Cavan are getting the ball kicked out all the time. That suits them perfectly because they're playing with that swarm defence. Monaghan are getting a wee bit agitated, you know. And on the other thing, I just wanted to say, obviously, what I said about Martin Morrissey earlier was said in a spirit of affection. It wasn't meant literally.
Well, I presume that's an apology.
Yes.
All right, well, we appreciate that because it was out of order, Joe. Tomas, watching that first half, do you know what it strikes me? This is kind of cat and mouse kind of stuff, which is not unusual in Ulster football, obviously. They're sizing each other up. Small advantage there to Cavan, but Monaghan won't be unhappy with their position either, I suspect.
Well, it's...
I mean, I know Joe says they're getting a bit frustrated maybe, but...
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the key to this game.
Yes.
Look, Joe mentioned there's a lot of frees, and I think there were soft enough frees given, to be fair, and it's those frees that have kept him in touch and distance. I think Conor McManus isn't involved from open play, and I think that's a key thing for Cavan, to keep him quiet. But you'd have to fancy Cavan at the moment. They're playing the better football. They've penetrated the Monaghan defence a couple of times. You had Ronan Flanagan come forward, Gerard McKiernan, Cian Mackey, all scored from play. And that's something that Monaghan aren't threatening. They're not threatening to...
The big 35 minutes of Ulster Championship football to come. Monaghan this year, the narrative in the build-up to this game was that they want to establish a foothold and a place in the top 4. They're trailing by 2 points at half-time, but Carl O'Connell could narrow the gap, and O'Connell has done just that. Lovely score from Carl O'Connell, like a greyhound surging up Kingspan Breffni Park, and that gap is down to 1. Perfect start to the second half for the Monaghan men. It's only their second point from play, an awful lot of frees. Here goes Gerard McKiernan, swings the left boot at that Gerard McKiernan, and that is a gorgeous score from the Cavan midfielder. It's his second, and they've restored the 2-point lead. Niall Murray of Cavan. It's Kieran Brady, Cian Mackey. Cavan would like him to be on the ball more. Martin Riley has seen plenty of it. There's a bit of a gap now. It's Kieran Brady. Brady got his shot away and has got the point for Cavan. It's 3 again.
It's worrying times actually for Monaghan, Darren.
Niall Murray of Cavan. Now this is for Michael Argue. Drew Wiley is struggling and he's taken out of the game. Here's Michael Argue. Will he get his point? Huge roar from the Cavan supporters in Breffni Park, because he has. And now it's 4 points and Argue has got 2.
Argue's got 2, and it's like the Incredible Hulk in there. Big ball in, shrugs off Wiley, gets it on his right foot, just creeps inside the post.
Good work again from Kieran Hughes. Colin Walsh launching that forward. Brilliant from Darren Hughes. He could be in here. Hughes for Monaghan. He's got a point. It was goal he wanted. It was goal he was after, and he was very close to getting it.
Well, if you want a score to inspire you, there's one, because he took a ball there that he had no right to win. Jason McLaughlin was in a position to murder him with a belt, but Hughes kept his eye on the ball, bravery personified, and shot a wonderful, wonderful score.
Here's Vinnie Corey. Now Carl O'Connell scored the first point of the second half. Back to Vinnie Corey. Dick Clerkin swings the left boot after it. Dick Clerkin, and that's gone over the bar. He's arrived in Cavan. And Monaghan now only trail by a single point. They've scored the last 3 without reply. Gerard McKiernan, where's the inspiration for Cavan? Niall Murray. Would they take a draw at this stage? I'm sure they possibly would. Here's Martin Dunn on his left boot, and Martin Dunn Perhaps that is the inspiration, because it's a point. They're first in 18 minutes, and it's tied up again in Breffni Park.
Beautiful score by Martin Dunn this time. Goes away from goals, makes the room for himself, doesn't take on his man, finishes it with a plop.
Stephen Golightly, Michael Argue is the Cavan centre forward. Conor McManus now with Fergal Flanagan. 14 points apiece. McManus for Monaghan. That's gone over. Brilliant score from a difficult angle.
That was wonderful. He took on his Flanagan on the outside. Fergal Flanagan made the angle for himself, and just like done a couple of moments ago, struck a beauty.
Golightly, while you watch that replay,
Stephen has picked up a yellow card, actually.
he's got a yellow, yeah. I thought this was going to be closer in, but anyway.
No, there was two fouls.
Yeah.
I think the one by Golightly is the one that he first one that he made the call on.
Now put a number on the distance. It's a massive distance out.
60 metres, or 55 metres, I'd say. 60
Nearly at halfway. Raymond Galligan has a huge kick of the ball, and that one has gone wide. He was okay for distance. The 19-year-old. Hayes sending that in. Beckons out after it and argues just wide with the fist. It's a 45 though. It's a 45. With Raymond Galligan to tie it up at Kingspan Breffni Park, and he's missed that by an even bigger distance, and that is the full forward. Well, he's taken his point. Okay, one between them. They need the ball instantly from the kick out. Cavan do. Monaghan need it for different reasons.
Well, Rory Beckins certainly isn't going to rush matters here.
There was a point between them 2 years ago. Cavan had a 4-point lead in the 12th minute of the second half, and it's all over. Martin Dunn went for his point from the free when he should have dropped it in around the house to steady them down, and they go through to the Ulster semi-final. It's the qualifiers again for Cavan, but here at Kingspan Breffni Park, it's finished in a victory for Monaghan over Cavan by 16 points to 15.
Commentary this afternoon was by Dara Maloney and Martin Carney. Tomás O'Shea, Cavan have lost that match. They will find, when they look back at it, they obviously had their chances to win it, but also credit, I guess, to Monaghan, who showed a lot of courage there in that second half.
Huge, Michael. The start of the second half, Carl O'Connell came up and he had a great score. I think that was a difference for me in terms of Monaghan for the second half. They kicked points from play, which they weren't threatening in the first half. Desi Mohan kicked a bomb, Conor McManus, Kieran Hughes, Dick Clark and all contributed from play, and that for me was the difference. I think Cavan fouled a bit too much. Do you know, they got McManus kicked 5 frees, and it was just too much for them. Although our Monaghan were really impressive in the second half, you have to say.
They were, but having said that, Joe Brodley, obviously a game with 1 point in it, and your free taker comes up and he misses 2 frees. That
He who hesitates,
easily level the match anyway.
He who hesitates is lost. 47 minutes, Cavan 13-9 up, and in control of the game. Monaghan panicking and nervy. And then Cavan started to mess about, sideways play. You know, they lost possession 3 times in a row, and that's sufficient to say to the opposition, look, we're still in the game. And at that stage, Cavan should have put them out of the game. And then, I mean, Kieran McManus, who played heroically all day long and kicked a great score. Dick Clerkin made an appreciable difference when he came on, because Monaghan started to go at Cavan then. They'd been very hesitant in the first half, and Cavan's defensive structure is very forbidding. You know, and they haven't been used to playing anything yet, anything like that this year.
These are some of the scores from the second half that turned this game.
Well, once Monaghan started to go at them, that was the difference.
Yeah. It was from open play, Michael. They weren't even threatening this in the first half. And
yes.
From the very word go, you could see it was a different attitude, and they upped their performance way much so. But look, we said that it would catch Cavan maybe their inside forwards in terms of score.
From then on, I thought we actually started to play better football. We controlled the play better. We used the ball better. We got Conor on the ball more inside. Kicked a couple of great scores, and I think our experience and our, I suppose a wee bit of championship know-how told in the end. Probably Martin Riley's black card was a major issue for us, because he's one of our linkmen on a ball carrier going forward, and him going off. Plus we had to take off with 2 lads that picked up 2 yellows, so you know we kind of lost our shape. We lost our centre half back in the midfield again because of that. But you know, they're the rules, and you have to be very careful on the line with black cards now and lads with yellow cards. So perhaps we lost a little bit of our shape for that 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, and let's have a look at the draw there. You'll see that Monaghan now play Fermanagh or Antrim in the Ulster semi-final. That'll be on June 21st. All right, Kevin, it was interesting to hear Terry Highlands. They maybe lost their shape a bit, and equally in the closing stages, Monaghan brought on all their experience, and that seemed to make a difference.
That nailed it. It was championship experience in the last 10, 15 minutes. I would have said at that stage Cavan had the game won. There was 2 bad wides, if you recall, around the 60th minute from Monaghan. He said, no.
From Cavan?
No, from Monaghan at the time.
Right.
Kicked 2 bad wides. And he said, no, they're gone. And yet they came back, and it was